Chapter 9. Orilla followed her sister below the palace. She felt a moment of misgiving for disobeying Ikaterina's instructions to behave, but she pushed it away. She and Arosa weren't necessarily misbehaving. They were visiting the younglings in the hope of learning and understanding more about the species. "Did you hear them? They are growing so fast," Orilla commented the moment they rematerialized in the castle. "Yes, and so brave. This is different from the other structures that the human has built," Arosa reflected, looking at the large white columns and the ceiling. With a wave of her hand, the ceiling changed, becoming a window to the vast universe far beyond. "That is much better." "Remember what Ikaterina said before she left," Orilla reminded her sister. "What harm could there be in seeing the beauty of the worlds beyond this one?" Arosa asked, glancing up at the ceiling again. "Come, let us explore. Ikaterina says that each time we touch other lives, we could inadvertently change the course of their history and potentially those of others that we may not even be aware of," Orilla said, as she followed her sister. "We would not be here if not for them," Arosa pointed out with a wave of one slender golden hand. "Besides, Ikaterina is too busy to worry about what we are doing here." "I fear for her, Arosa," Orilla said, gliding into a room that was filled with books. Startled, Arosa looked at her sister. "Why do you fear for her? She is an ancient, one of the most powerful of our species." Orilla ran a delicate finger along the spines, puzzled as to why the books were not real. She thought about her sister's response. It was true that Ikaterina was one of the most powerful of their species, an ancient, born during the creation of the cosmos. She and her sister were very young by comparison to Ikaterina, just a few million years old. They had barely traveled the galaxies through the vast dimensions of infinite space. Their species were wanderers, travelers among the vastness of space and time. Their purpose was to learn, to spread life among the stars, and to observe but not interfere. They were made up of the energy that helped create the stars and planets. But as long-lived and powerful as they were, even their energy could be drained. Ikaterina never talked much about how she had come to be on Valdier, saying only that the very essence of the world had saved her from certain death. They did not fear death. It was a part of the cycle of the universe. No, it was the curiosity from knowing there was still so much to learn that kept their essences from fading to dust. That was what kept their species alive. They were powerful enough to erase an entire star system with a swipe of their hand, but to do so would be to upset the cosmic balance they were sworn to keep. They were there to study and to share life, not take it. Never in their existence had that power been altered, until the one named Raffen Rykel discovered a way to alter the positive energy that gave life to them and the symbiotes. He had changed that power into something dark and dangerous. Orilla felt a shimmer of unease rush through her when she remembered the death of another of their kind. Raffen's dark energy had attacked and destroyed the beautiful living entity. A strange sensation filled Orilla at the memory. The more time that she and Arosa spent near the Valdier palace, the more powerful those sensations became, almost like they were. "Arosa," Orilla called out in a soft, reflective voice, as she turned to look into a mirrored surface. "Yes, sister," Arosa replied. "Do you think it is possible for us to have feelings?" Orilla asked, studying her face. "Feelings?" Arosa repeated. "Yes. I feel my energy warm when I am around the younglings and their parents. The energy rises and falls like the waves along the shores of the hive. If those are feelings, then yes, I believe we are capable of having them. Why do you ask?" Arilla lifted a shimmering hand and gently touched her cheek. She pulled it away and studied the moisture on the tip. She turned and gazed back at her sister. "Look," she whispered, holding out a slender arm. "What is this?" Arosa glided over and stared at the drop of moisture glittering on the tip of Arilla's finger. She reached out and touched the drop, watching as it disappeared. She gazed back at Arilla with a tilt of her head. "What were you thinking of?" Arosa asked. "Of our sister that died," Arilla admitted. "A great heaviness filled me, as if my energy was being pulled away, and then this appeared." "It is a tear," Arosa murmured, reaching out to touch her sister's still damp cheek. She stroked it with her thumb. "I can feel the heaviness in you. I believe the human females call it sadness." "Is it like when the little ones cry when they are hurt?" Arilla asked in confusion. "No," Arosa replied, with a shake of her head. "It is when the pain is in here." Arosa gently laid her hand against Arilla's still chest. "It is when their heart hurts," she explained. "But we do not have a heart," Arilla murmured, with a confused glance down at Arosa's hand. "How can that be?" "I do not know," Arosa admitted. "But the more time we spend with this species, the more I feel a change deep within me. My energy rises higher than ever before at times, seeking to expand outward." "Yes," Arilla agreed in awe. "Their power is like that of the Curzon unleashed, but also with the strength captured in the heart of the Seraphim," Arosa agreed. "Do you think Ekaterina has ever felt this?" Arilla asked in a hesitant voice. "Do you think she knows what it is like to feel?" Arosa hugged her sister. "Yes, it is part of who we are, our capacity to learn, to grow, and to explore as we grow older." She pulled back and glanced around. "Come, let us do all of that now. I am curious about what the young ones will do." Arilla watched as her sister turned and continued to explore. For a moment, she glanced down at the slender fingers of her left hand. They had taken this form more frequently since the humans arrived. They found the shape to be very pleasing and knew that the young ones were unafraid of this physical form. "Arilla?" Arosa called to her. "Feelings," Arilla murmured in amazement, before she shook her head and smiled.